All right, good morning. We are live. Andrew Juge here with Saints Happy Hour podcast. Okay, we're going to talk about some things today related to the Saints. And, the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's crazy as you look at how they've approached this offseason. Dennis Allen, number of coaches were interviewed outside the building. They land on Dennis Allen, the guy that we thought would get this job all along. Fast forward to offensive coordinator. They look at a bunch of guys outside the building. They end up settling for Pete Carmichael, elevating from within. The move that made the most sense all along. And the further they go into this defensive coordinator search, the more it seems like they're just going to promote Chris Richard and Ryan Nielsen as co-defensive coordinators. And so I'm starting to think, how much will they look outside the building at all? If you think about their strategy last year in terms of free agency, they really signed no one. They were not active players in free agency. Tano Passanio was maybe their highest profile guy that they got in free agency. And so it was really about franchise tagging Marcus Williams, getting long-term deals done with Ramczyk, Kamara, Lattimore. So it was really about just retaining their nucleus. And I feel like they're doing that right now with the coaching staff. And so I asked myself, is this free agency period not going to be more just about retaining Armstead? Is it not going to be more about retaining Marcus Williams again, and maybe they franchise him? And is it not going to be about retaining Jameis Winston? And so that's where I want to land with that. Kenneth, you're saying you lost me. Dada Saints number one, what's up? Not sure if I'm having connectivity issues today, but let me know how I'm doing here. As always, please smash the like button and please subscribe and visit our website, saintshappyhour.com. Consider becoming a patron. I'm going to wait a second here. Kenneth, if you can confirm that my live stream is working versus not. He's saying no. Sound is good. Okay. Ant-Man, can you see me? Can you hear me? CK Ambrose, if you can let me know if you can see me or hear me. Good morning, everyone. Jed says he likes the room in my house. So obviously he can see me. Everyone says it's working. So Kenneth, that might be, if you can't see me, it might be on your end. Anyway, guys, thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it. And clearly you got time to spend this morning like I do. So that's a good thing. Again, for those of you that are just joining, please smash the like button. Share this podcast if you don't mind. Visit our website, saintshappyhour.com. and consider becoming a patron. So Kenneth says it might be the country internet. I got country internet too, man. So I can't judge. Jameis Winston as quarterback seems like more and more likely to me. And I saw some interesting odds today. Odds makers are making Winston the favorite to become the Steelers' starting quarterback. And I just feel like that's been something we've talked about. We've danced around for years now. The Steelers are interested. We know they have an opening at that position. And I think Mike Tomlin would go for Jameis. I really do. So I think the Saints will make a play at trying to get him back. And I think it's going to be between the Steelers and the Saints. I really think that's how it ends up playing out. And obviously the Saints are going to have to spend to get him. And I think Mickey Loomis will find a way to make that work. But to me, I look at the Saints, and I'd be curious in the chat if you guys just kind of want to weigh in on where you see. I mean, there's been all this talk, like you said, Jerry, thank you, and good morning. Yeah, everyone's talking about Russell Wilson. Everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers. I still think the odds are they're not going anywhere, and I don't think the Saints are really going to be a player for Deshaun Watson. So I think at the end of the day, Jameis makes the most sense. He knows the offense. He's comfortable there. The offense isn't changing. We know that now. Pete Carmichael's going to call the play. So I think the Saints are going to make a run at Jameis and just say, hey, we want you back. The big question to ask as it relates to Jameis is, does he want to come back knowing that Sean Payton is gone? I believe that he does, but I do think Sean Payton being gone is a factor because this allure of learning from the Harvard Business School of quarterbacking is probably gone. Drew Brees is no longer there. Sean Payton is no longer there. The relic that's left is Pete Carmichael. That's really it. I mean, you're bringing in Doug Marrone, you're bringing in some other offensive guys, but it's really Pete Carmichael's show now, and I don't know how much that resonates with Winston. So at this point, it's going to be more about the established relationships that he's made inside the locker room with the players, the established relationship that he's made with the community. And if that means enough to him that he would maybe forego the Steelers' offer, which I think is going to be higher. But Loomis is going to try to make it work, I think. And to me, at this point, as I said at the beginning of this podcast, live YouTube stream, whatever you want to call it, is that I just think the Saints at every turn with Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael leaning more and more like defensive coordinator is going to be hired from within. They're trying to keep the house in order. They're trying to run it back with the same people they have. And the reason why they're doing that, by the way, is they believe they can win this division with this core nucleus. And I really think they can. Again, we've talked about the NFC South. It's weak. It's not, at least right now. And look, a lot of things can change between now and the free agency end of the draft. And maybe Atlanta or Carolina or Tampa starts to look a lot better. But as things stand here today, it's the Saints division as much as anyone's. And I think any of these teams can win. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's go through all of your comments. Dada, Saints #1. You're saying Jameis needs to be back in NOLA. I think a lot of us are starting to feel that way. I think as time goes on and we start to get past the kind of, hey, let's go get an elite guy, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, I think we start to feel more and more that, hey, let's get Jameis back. And I'm feeling that way for sure. Jed says he's team Winston all the way. Not maybe as exciting, but it makes the most sense at this juncture. And again, it's all about continuity. I think the Saints give themselves the best chance to be seamless with this new head coach and not take a step backward if they keep everything as solidified as possible. Kenneth says, I think that Jameis Winston is trending favorably. I agree with that. Again, the Steelers are really the team that scares me the most right now. Jed says Winston needs to demand receivers. Well, look, Michael Thomas coming back is the biggest thing there. I think we all see that clearly, but no doubt. Look, I think if you bring back Jameis Winston, I think the odds of taking a quarterback at 18 go down considerably, and receiver has to be the #1 position on your list that you consider getting. That's what I would do. And look, I never lock in on positions. I'm always like, get good players in the building. I don't really care what position they play. You can always use a good player. It's always going to make a difference. Even if it's depth, get good players. And I think that should always be your draft philosophy. But in this case, I do think you go receiver in the first round. We'll see with free agency. I may change my mind. But right now, pick 18, got to be a receiver. And there's a lot of really good ones in the draft. And I think there's going to be guys available at 18 that make a lot of sense. So it's shaping up that way for me. CK says, I think Wilson and Aaron is out. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are out because of what the Saints would have to give up to get them since they're still under contract. Completely agree. And remember, the Saints cap issues are a thing. We know this. Kenneth says, with this defense, score 21 to 23 and you're golden, and Jameis Winston can absolutely do that, and I think more. While I agree with that, the defense doesn't necessarily stay the same. You're probably losing Bradley Roby. You're probably Malcolm Jenkins. Is he going to retire? Do we cut him? Yeah, that's a question mark. So this defense is going to change a little bit. They're going to have to replace those pieces. And Marcus Williams is the big one. You can't lose him. So hopefully, they're able to keep this defense. And then, you got some aging guys, DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan. Can they maintain their level? That's going to be a big question mark. Jed asks, do you think Mickey would pick Jameis's brain over free agent receivers as a negotiating tactic and appeasement? Interesting. Yeah, that would be a good approach, I think, on a lot of levels, because I think it would communicate to Jameis like, hey, this is your team and we value your input. We think you're a smart guy, and you're allowing him to be part of the strategy process. Really, that's something that Drew Brees had with the Saints. He had a lot of input in the receivers that he liked, and big moves would get run by him. He was always getting a heads up. And so I think Winston is one of those guys that has the humility to where that really goes a long way. Like he would really appreciate that. And I think as he's a free agent, it would mean a lot to him that number one, the Saints want him back. If they start talking to him, and they're like, hey, you're our guy. We want you. We're ready to commit. But on top of that, be like, not only are we willing to commit, but we want you to have input in the process because we think you're a smart guy. And I just think I think it's a great point, Jed, because I do think it communicates to Jameis how all in you are in on him. So I'm with you on that. Kenneth, shenanigans, love it. CK, give Winston a good receiving group and he'll be solid. I'm with you. The arm strength is undeniable. Tyler, good morning. Thank you for joining. Midge Jones, you finally found this. Who dat? Yes, welcome. Yeah, I think you can subscribe and then it dings you. YouTube does. You can get notifications when I go live. I in the Discord, if you're a patron, I tend to give you guys a heads up, 5-minute warning when I'm going on live on these things. So you can find it on Discord. But I know that's kind of like you have to be in there and catch it. So if you want notifications, subscribe to our YouTube channel and then you can get it because I go live. I try to go every morning. I haven't been doing this for about a week. It was a busy week last week, but love to interact with you guys. And there hasn't been a ton of Saints news. So as free agency comes, I'm going to be, as soon as news hits, I'm going to do a podcast with Ralph and probably come live right on here right away. So you'll definitely want to subscribe so that you can get my initial thoughts on that stuff. Yeah. Dada, Saints number one. Yeah, the free agency and drive. Saints are going to be all in on overhauling their offense. I'm with you. I think that's going to be a major focus. Derek, good morning. Who dat family? He's team Jameis as well. I know it was only 5 games. It was actually 7. They were 5-2, so 7 games. But I feel like he proved enough to be the starting quarterback, and we should go with receiver at 18. Yep, that's what we talked about. I think we're all feeling that. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Ant-Man. Yep, he corrected as well. 7 games played. It looks like you guys are all on the Jameis bandwagon. PX Saver, you finally made it. A little late to the party. Who dat? But yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page here. We want Jameis Winston back, and I do. Because now that you see, again, the continuity here, you've stuck with a coach inside the building, offensive coordinator inside the building. Why not stick with that at quarterback? We have a good solution there. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the Saints do. Remember, they could always draft a guy. Free agency, do we really want – see, here's the thing. Like, the alternatives are probably Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater. I'm more excited about Winston. Now, if Winston takes that Steelers deal and decides to leave New Orleans, then – I think Teddy Bridgewater becomes a real possibility. And I'm going to tell you guys, you look at Teddy Bridgewater and Garoppolo statistically, they're exactly the same. And so why wouldn't you do Teddy, who knows the system, again, comfortable in the environment, a good leader. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I know a lot of you guys are down on him, but I still really like Teddy. And I still think they can win the division with him at quarterback. I really do because of the solid foundation that they have. Obviously, Michael Thomas is going to have to come back and support him big time. But I think they can win with him. I just think they can go further with Jameis. So anyway, a bunch of you haven't hit the like button yet. Please hit that and visit our website, saintshappyhour.com. Consider becoming a patron. Thanks for joining me this morning. Who dat? And we'll be doing them this week. So looking forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow.